Alright, so in today's lecture, we are going to start the gene knockout process. Okay, so in this, we have to see how the gene can be knocked out from an organism and how they will going to affect their phenotypic version. So this is a major gene knockout method, and now we have to see their steps, methods, and application. So let's begin with the introduction part. Now, what we have to study in this lecture, first the definition part, the steps in gene knockout method and how to confirm gene knockout. Then we have to study what kind of method we can study under the gene knockout process, their application, and the last thing we have to see what are the major differences between a gene knockout and gene knockdown. So these are the things which we are going to study in this lecture. So if we see what is gene knockout. So basically, if we talk about knockout, so this is a condition when we are knocking something out from their domain. If like some organism which basically knocking out their some parts, or if from like if we are taking a class or we just get a student out of the class, so that is a knockout method. So in this case, what thing is going to be knockout? That is a gene. So here we have to see how a gene can be knocked out and what are the influence of that gene knockout can take place inside a organism. So in this case, gene knockout, the segment of a part, okay, what is the function of DNA here? What is the function of gene? They code for some kind of protein. If we going to knock out a gene from a body, then what happen? There will be a specific protein formation from that gene that is going to stop in that body. So if that protein formation will be going to stop inside a body when we are going to see their phenotypic effects, and in the phenotypic we are not getting that particular feature which we are getting earlier. So now this kind of thing inside the organism can be known as gene knockout. So here simply if a gene which is coding for a protein and that is not present inside an organism for showing their phenotypic effect, that process is called the gene knockout process. Sometimes this process can be happen naturally, but sometimes we can made a gene to be knockout. So that can be spontaneous by natural, or it can be man-made, artificial, or synthetic, whatever you wanted to say. So there are several methods in the genetic engineering or common in DNA technology by which or using these we can do the gene knockout method. So we go through with this introduction part also. So the gene is a functional piece of a DNA which encode a protein. Okay, every gene encode a protein. By inactivating gene, either by removing DNA sequence or altering DNA sequences. Okay, we can do two things here for inactivating the particular gene. What can we do? First, we can remove DNA, or secondly, we can alter that DNA sequence. So introducing a mutation inhibits the proper or normal function of the gene loss of the function. So when we do these kind of mutations or variations, what happened? A normal function of gene going to be lose. So that lose of function or that enable to show their protein formation by a specific gene, that is called the process of gene knockout. So that gene is then inserted into a germline cell of a model organism and allowed to grow. So sometimes what we can do, particular gene we can take out from a organism and let that gene to insert it inside a another organ, or you can say another organism or germinalized cell or model organism. So in that case we also see how that particular gene going to show their protein formation, or what type of phenotypic versions can be shown from that particular gene. So using artificial vector, it can be inserted into the growing embryo. So what the things we are going to see, we will see in them detail. But like we have, if we wanted to transfer a particular gene, till now we know that we will going to need a vector to do this function. So here also for using that, we are going to need a vector, and by the help of that vector, we can take that gene and insert that gene into a growing embryo. Next here, the gene knockout performed well, a visible phenotypic variation can be observed or alteration in the biochemical phenotype can be reported. If our whole process of gene knockout that goes smoothly, if there is no problem, then what we're going to see, we will be seeing a visible phenotypic variation. So a differences in their earlier phenotypic can be seen in the now what we are getting from that gene knockout, and we can observe or alter the biochemical phenotype. Not always the physical phenotype can be reformed, but also sometimes the biochemical activity of that particular organism can be reported. This is a simple explanation of a gene knockout. So this is the overview how a knockout process can be happening. So in this process, in this lecture or article, you are going to study about the whole process of gene knockout and gene knockdown. So there will be two processes, but there is a difference between gene knockout and gene lockdown. What happened inside a gene lockdown? Okay, lockdown, like we are facing also a lockdown process now. We are not knocked out from the earth, but what we are facing, this is a lockdown process. So same thing happens inside the organism also. At the case of the gene lockdown, some of the genetic conformation of a particular organism can be altered a slight. Okay, yeah. Sometime what we can do, we just send a simple small segment of the RNA or the complementary RNA site inside a gene and give them a false alert. So, getting a complementary RNA from outside, they look like a their own genotype. So, what happened? They just coupled with that RNA which we are providing them. So, at that time, gene do not knock out from the organism. But what happened? They just altered their structure. So altering that structure can also inhibit their protein formation. So this kind of protein formation, when a gene just you can say just letting down their expression or letting down their protein formation, but they are not perfectly knocking out from organism. In that case, in knockdown phase, what happened? There is a 90 to 100%, not 90% or 100% surety that we are going to a different phenotype. Sometimes there is 80% of the surety that we can get a variation, but 20% or 10% that we cannot get a different or variant phenotype as we are going to design. So in that case, when we are not 100% sure of getting a difference in the variation of the gene phenotype, so in that case we call them the gene knockdown process. And gene knockout process, there is 100% surety of getting a variation inside a phenotype. Is this clear? The difference between gene knockout or gene lockdown? Lockdown, there is no 100% surety, but gene knockout process, there is 100% surety of getting a phenotypic variation in a particular kind of gene. So, for studying the introductory part of gene knockout, or you can say for taking a detailed overview here, we just use, as we have to study these gene knockout process in the eukaryotes, we are taking a mouse for their study, or you can say for the understanding how the gene knockout process happen. So, we are taking the gene from the mouse. So here the here the gene which we are using for knockout process, that is a mice coat here. Okay, that gene is basically function for the mice coat hairs. So the if we are going to remove that MCH gene, which is coding the protein for the formation of hair of mice. If we are going to knock out that, or if we going to extract that gene particularly out, what we are going to see, we you can say 100% surely we are going to see the variation on the mouse hair, or you can say the color, or sometimes their fur. Maybe the if the this is the formation for the hair, then there will be no hair if we knock out that particular gene. So if we wish to study how the MCA gene work, we have to surprise its activity or inactivate it. So we can do two things. We can suppress its activity. We do some chemical things, or their gene going not to be expressed, or sometimes what we can do, we just inactivate that, or sometimes we just extract them out. So for that we can use different techniques. So there are several techniques, several methods which we can use for that process. So if we introduce a mutation in the DNA sequence of the MCH gene, we can inactivate some of the promoter sequence. So what we can do for inactivating them? So initially all the reaction, when the protein formation take place, the first thing what we have to do, that is a promoter gene, which basically initiate the reaction. So that promoter sequence which regulate the gene expression, we have to remove that from the entire MCH gene. So sometimes what we can do, we just inactivate that promoter gene, or sometimes what we can do, we just remove the entire MCH gene. Then the final version of the inactivate gene is introduced into a vector, and which are inserted into the embryonic stem cell. So now we having a gene, or we having a prototype in which the for the fur, for the hairs of the mice, that gene is inactivated. So now the total genotype we are going to inserted into the embryonic stem cells to see their effect. So now whatever the mice which is going to be generated from these embryonic cells, they are no longer to having the fur, or you can say the hairs on their body. So the model organisms like transgenic mice developed from the homozygous cell type may not have hairs on its coat. We can call it the naked mice. So now what we are going to see, that the mice, because we already inactivated that gene which is going to code for hair. So if there is no coding for hair, so there will be no hair on the mouse. So that's why the mice can be naked. So the MCH gene might also be linked to some other function as well. That function are also suppressed in the homozygous mice and can be studied. Now, sometimes there is a kind of phenotypic effect. Polytrophic effects means like one gene, or you can say one gene is responsible for more than one character, or just for the stimulating some other things. So they have some other function just rather to give the fur to the mice. So maybe those functions which are associated that MCH gene, they can also be suppressed or reduced. So the genetically altered mice are called gene knockout mice, or gene knockout organism, or gene knockout. So whatever we can call them, the model organism we got from that whole process, that can be called as knockout organism or knockout mice. Similarly, the process of knocking out two genes are called the double knockout. So if we are going to just knocking out one single gene for the variation, that is just the gene knockout process. But if we are going to knock out two genes, that will be called as a double knockout, or in short, you can call them the DKO. However, along with this physical examination, several other methods such as PCR or DNA sequencing can also be used for confirming or validation the result of the gene knockout, that can be discussed later. So basically, the phenotypic version just simply says us that that gene has been inactivated or moved out because there is no fur on the skin of mouse. But if we wanted to validate our results, like just seeing something and predicting something cannot be helped to approve that thing. So in that case, we can do the two other other biochemical reactions. So in that case, we can use a PCR, or we can use a DNA sequencing method. So when we are doing the PCR, we are getting the amplified version of that particular gene, so we can study them out, or we can do the DNA sequencing. So when we are doing the sequencing part, we know that each and every DNA or the gene which is present inside that genotype. So that's why on the basis of that, we can also see the how the DNA sequencing going to work there. So this is a definition of the gene knockout. So this the whole thing which I just explained, this will be taking part in the several other subparts. So like if we start the definition process, this is the process of suppressing gene function by gene manipulation, that is called gene knockout. Okay, so this simple this definition you can use to make understand others to what is gene knockout. So this is a simple process of suppressing or manipulation in the gene or in the original form of gene, which led some variations or which led the complete loss of that gene. They can be called as a knockout. In the some animals which we are doing, they perform that function, that can be called as a model organism, and we have to see that artificially to prove ourselves that this kind of method can exist. Now the process, so first the process which we are going to use here, that is a selecting a gene for knockout. So this is a very first step in the whole genetic engineering experiment, because the thing which we wanted to be isolated from that particular organism, that should be known, like from which place that is coming. So we after that, some of the dry lab work is done in which the structure, length, and other parameters related to gene of interest are studied. So whatever the things which we are going to knocking out, the gene which we are knocking out, we know the all the characteristic feature of that particular gene, their physiological activities, their biochemical patterns, and how they, if we do the gene sequencing, at what place they are going to form, or at what place they have to be find out. So these things of that particular gene has to be known. Next, after the knowing the gene, or after having the gene, what we need a second thing, that is a construction of the vector. Now we have to make a vector in which we are going to put that gene which we already inactivated, mutated, or something which basically stopping their activity of protein formation. So vector is a vehicle used to transfer a gene of interest or any other DNA sequence to a target cell. This is, we know. A plasmid is generally used for it. So we used a plasmid from a bacteria. We extra as an extra chromosomal DNA of a bacteria, we can use the plasmid. So in this case, in the gene knocking out process, we are going to use BAC. BAC is a bacterial artificial chromosome vector, which is going to use in the knockout experiment. Now, this is the kind of a structure which is going to be seen when we are making a or construction of the vector. You can see several sites here. Like if we start from the restriction endonuclease site or restriction digestion site, they are very important to digest anything, to insert it, or just transferring any segment of a particular vector. Second is our gene of interest, or our inactivated in gene or something. Third is, this is the ORI site, okay, that is going to help in the origin of replication. Selectable marker, so we can identify our gene, like in at what place inside that organism is our gene has been present. So the selectable marker are going to help us there. Antibiotic resistance gene, so whenever a foreign thing come into our body or into any organism, they start making the antibodies. So we needed an antibody resisting gene also inside that vector concentration. And lastly, the promoter region. So these going to be the sites, or these going to be a part when we are going to construct a vector. So you have to be very careful that each and every part of a vector construction, that should be done very carefully for successfully doing the knockout process. Now, suppose we have introduced a frame shift mutation into one DNA sequence or which inhibit the protein formation. Now, what we can do, there are several situations under which we can work for the knockout process. Like we can do the frame shift mutation. So basically, frame shift mutation is just altered their sites, like at what specific site they have to be attached, but they just shifted their structure. So the thing which have to be come and attach that particular site, there is not going to maintain their way out. We have removed some of the ORF, like what, or some other thing what we can do here is just we are going to remove some ORF. ORF are the open reading frame, like at what place from the gene and inserted an altered gene into a dye. So after this ORF formation, what we have to do, we have a possibility to increase for the insertion of the altered gene into the bag by this open reading frames. Now, for safer side to validate our results, a marker DNA sequence is also introduced. So, for the like we wanted to study that is our gene has been introduced or not. For that, their identification, their place, we have to insert a marker also. With it, some of their important DNA sequence, such as origin of replication, promoter sequence, recognition sequence are also inserted in a plasmid as well. So because these things are needed for the transformation process. So if these things will not be present or anyone will be lacking here, so maybe a not complete transformation process can be take place inside the host organism. So now, what our marker gene inserted only to make the insert detectable for reporting the result. It work as a reporter. So here marker gene, they are just inserted here for reporting the gene or at what place our gene have been present. So they are just for the reporting process. Like you can see what the resistance gene we are going to use for the antibiotic resistance genes. So this new R gene that is very famous, and that's why we are going to use them our knockout studies. That is neomycin resisting gene is a one of the popular reporter or marker sequences used in a knockout studies. So this particular kind of sequence which is going to use the inside as a marker sequence or reporter sequence. Insertion of the ES cells. So ES cells are the embryonic cells basically. So now our vector construction has been done. We know what things we have to insert it, what kind of shape we are going to insert it, but in what we are going to insert it. So insertion should be done in the embryonic cell. So this embryonic cell insertion that can be done by the several artificial methods like the electroporation, sonication, microinjection, or sometimes it can be done in the plasmid inserted inside the ES cell. So these are the methods which can be used for the insertion into the embryonic cell. Now we have to see why are we using these embryonic cells. Like we can insert in several other things why we are using just specifically the embryonic cell. So embryonic cell or embryonic stem cell, they can divide faster and divide into any type of the cell. When the embryo is developing, that is a very primitive stage of formation of any kind of organism. At that stage only, the along with division, there is a process of differentiation can take place. So the differentiation is a process when the division happens on the basis of their functional analysis. Division happens just for increasing the mass of a particular organism. But when the differentiation happens, division is going to take place with the diverse functionality. So that diverse functionality is very needed for our gene of interest to revoking their particular protein formation. So the ES cells have the power to develop into a mature mice tissue. So that's why we are going to use embryonic cells. Electroporation method is one of the best technique used for gene knockout by scientists in which under the electrical current a gene is inserted into the cell. So whenever electrical stimuli taking place inside a body that just make a several way, okay, and that basically break out the cell membrane. So breaking out that cell membrane, if you ever studied about the action potential of membrane, so there always a ion concentration or electrical gradient that has to be performed for making our way to inside the cell membrane. So at this time also, we need what the best method is the electroporation. So whatever electric current just going to break out the cell membrane, there is a way inside that which is able to insert it our gene inside the embryonic cells. Now our plasmid is inside our target cells. So now the plasmid which we have been constructed for transferring that has been inserted inside the embryonic cells. Now, how we can going to confirm that insertion? Like we did all these things, but we have to know, right? Before we are going to breed out or we are to culture these cells, there should be a confirmation of the insertion. So the confirmation is going to under the in vitro conditions. So when we grow our cells under the in vitro condition, it is possible that some cell may be transformed or some cell may not. So only some cells, maybe not everything have to be dominant for several characteristics. So some cell can be transformed, but some other not. So now using the PCR, we are going to culture that, and if we are going to PCR that material and study out their particular effect, then we are going to able to understand that is the insertion is going to be confirmed or not. So a set of primer for in that PCR, what are going to be specifically do inside that PCR, that the PCR need of several specific primer to our marker DNA sequence. So we know what kind of gene we inactivated and inserted. So according to that gene of formation, we are going to establish our primers, our marker DNA. So in that case, when we are going to attach that primer zone inside the PCR chain, so on the basis of their complementation, on the basis of their amplification, we will be able to know that the gene of our interest is going to be inserted and they are going to be amplified and converting their effective. So if the transform cell which is not present inside there, or our specific markers or primers, they are not complementing each other or not amplified, then the experiment will be failed. But if the amplification has been seen with our primers or the DNA markers, then they will be confirmed of the insertion of our gene of interest. Now, after the injecting into embryos, now the pick transform cells, so the amplified transform cell, we are going to pick them and we are going to insert them into the developing embryo or our model organism and let it grow normally. So after just these cells which we take in, we will be going to insert it in them to in the developing embryo, and or you can say are a model organism, and just the normal pattern of the growing, how the mice grow normally, they will be growing inside our lab observation. Now we will, after that, when it get mature, the next step what we are going to do is breeding. So if we are having a female or male, so now what we have to do, we have to breed them, because not a single parent can, asexual reproduction cannot happen inside a male. So for their breeding process, we need a proper sexual method. So that's why we are going to take from their population one wild type and one altered cell. So this kind of two type of the cell population, we will going to breed them out. So that organism which is going to be one altered transform cell, that animals are called the chimeric. So our chimeric animal is now genetically modified. In the next step, we breed it with normal animal. Okay, the thing which we developed inside our lab, that is a chimeric. Now, what we have to do, we have to breed that chimeric to the normal type of embryo. So, after this whole breeding process, we are going, if they are having several offspring, so there can be the two type of genotype we can have here. One with the homozygous normal, okay, and another animal with the homozygous but altered genotype. So two situation can be happen always, because we are not very sure about at the crossing over process what kind of gene is going to be altered, but there is a chances of getting the 50-50% that it should be present inside one offspring or not. But if they are not going to present in a one offspring, there will be a more surety that they will be going to present in another offspring. So in this case, we are going to get the two offsprings, one homozygous, one heterozygous. So now what we have to do, we have to do examination. We have offsprings now. So now our gene knockout animal is constructed. So we have the researcher, the scientist, whoever is going to study them, they need to examine that thing. So there are several parameters on which we are going to study them, like the physical parameters, biochemical, genetic parameters. So all this study, by the amplification of these genes, we are going to study every gene of our interest, that how they are showing the variation. Or now the mice which we get, that will be the naked mice, because the mice gene which is going to code the protein for the fur formation, that already has been revoked, or you can say deleted. So that's why the whole gene examination process will be going to under the phenotypic conditions also. This is known as physical, biochemical, or genetic parameters. So on these all the study matter, we are going to able to see that how our gene knockout process has been take place. So this is a diagrammatic representation of whole the gene knockout method. Like first, you can selecting a gene of interest. Second, you are going to do the plasmid construction. Third, you will going to inserting that plasmid into the ES cells, and after the ES insertion, we have to grow them or embryo. After the selection of that transformed cell, we are going to insert it into the embryo of a mice. And after that embryo, we are having a mice which do not have a fur on them. So this is our mice. When we are going to breed it out with the normal mouse, then whatever the offspring we are going to have, this is a gene knockout mice. So after that, we are going to validate our results by physical appearance. We have the first confirmation that gene have been knocked out, and the other validation we are going to through with the biochemical or genetic studies. So this is the whole knockout process. Now there is a question why we are using the why we are using this knockout mice here. So actually, the 99% of the gene combination of the humans and mice is basically similar. So some process which is going to, you can say, which is going to affect the mice in the same type of manner that process can affect us also. So that's why we are using several studies inside the mice. Now, there are several other methods which can be used for the gene knockout, like the gene silencing, conditional knockout, homologous recombination, gene editing, knockout by mutation. So, these things can be used for knocking out a particular kind of gene from the organism. This is the last thing, gene knockout versus gene knockdown. So, in the gene knockout process, we just completely remove a gene from their activity. Okay, this is the normal process that we are going to knocking out a particular kind of whole gene structure and their behavior. But in the gene knockdown, we are just doing some, you can say, we are just doing some variation inside their functioning. So they can just alter their function. Not we are not completing, taking out that gene from the organism. But what we are doing, we can just give them some mRNA, different mRNA, or you can say mRNAi, that is a very inserted mRNA, which is very small type of the complementary strands for a particular function. So at that time, our complementary RNA is going inside the organism, making a false alarm, and just adjusted with that particular gene and altering their function or going to variate their function. This will be the knockdown process. But in the knockdown process, there is no surety. Okay, this is 90 and 10% chances. 90% chances that variation can be happen, but the 10% chances that variation cannot be done. That is a chance base. But gene knockout process, that is 100% surety of not having that particular gene protein in that organism. But if we wanted to study in a short time, this gene knockout process, that is a very long or time consuming process. As you know, that we have to do all the lab things, then we going to inject, then we inside the mice, we are going to have a lot of time that mice have to get matured. We needed to do breeding, then their offspring will going to be matured, then we are going to study them. So this process is a time consuming and long process. If someone wanted to study very deeply of a particular gene, then only they have to go through this gene knockout process. But if the some researchers, some students like your MSc student, BSc student, they just wanted to see a rapid changes, so they have to go with the gene knockdown process. So gene knockdown, knockout or knockdown process, they are different in many ways. But if we wanted to do in a short time, gene knockdown process is better. But if we wanted to hold deep knowledge of a particular gene, then the gene knockout process is a best practice for studying their effects. Last, what is the application of gene knockout? Why we are using this gene knockout? So simply, very important application is to study the function of a particular gene. So if we wanted to study that what kind of function has been performed by this gene, and studying that function, we can do the gene knockout. Because if we wanted to see like what kind of function a gene can perform, what we can do, simply just extract out that gene, and now whatever the gene that coding for a specific protein, that protein not going to be formed inside that body, and the protein is not going to be, so that there is 100% surety, then there will be a change in a phenotypic variation. like if they vote for a skin color or hair or height or anything. So that particular character is going to lose from the phenotype. So in that case, we can easily study what is the major function of that particular gene. So that's why we use gene knockout process. It also enables scientists to monitor and control the effect of a gene. So they can also see how they can monitor if they are going to introduce some artificial manner of genetic type or gene studies. So how they can control a gene effect. Knockout method is used for constructing genetically modified GMOs. So GMOs are very important nowadays. We are having a lot of GMOs in bacteria, plants, and small animals also. So these GMOs are advanced features, having advanced features. They are more efficient than the normal one. So we can do that also. Like if some disease causing gene or other which have a liability inside them, so we can just knocking that particular gene out or make our things efficient. It is also used to study the effect of contribution of a particular gene and its role in development of disease. So we can use that in a disease knockout gene also. Likewise, employees in a drug discovery using gene knockout like genetic engineering tools, screening can be done. And also some the like who are doing the genetic engineering. So this is a very basic tool to know the effects. So that's why they can use the gene knockout. Okay, these are some references you can go through if you wanted to study more about the gene knockout process. That's all for today. Do you have any problem, Shivam? You can ask.
Ma'am, knockdown or knockdown or gene is